there were a few times where I was very starstruck by who I was talking to about fielding gloves. But like you said, just kind of explaining, that's kind of the big part about our brand, because we're not a super big company as of right now. And it was fun kind of explaining to these guys, hey, this is what we do, this is our mission, and this is where we want to be in 10 years. So, and you've probably seen the videos online of those Japanese catchers that can steal a million strikes a game on the bottom of the zone. And a lot of that is just letting the web kind of take the impact of the ball.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Glove. I am your host, Ben Loafman. So last summer, we dove deep on the topic of Japanese baseball gloves. We had Chris Banger from the Ball Glove King came on. He shared his love for the unique feel of gloves that are crafted in Japan. And we also had on Matt Walden of Walden Glove, and he discussed his Japanese-inspired break-in tools, the break-in method known as Yumomi, and his new line of Japanese crafted gloves under the name Slaps. So it's been about a year since then, but we're going to pick up that conversation again here on Beyond the Glove. So for a long time, these gloves, these Japanese gloves, were just something that were whispered about in the United States. It seemed that the only way you could really get your hands on them were to buy direct from a Japanese glove site, score an exclusive launch from a big brand, or hunt down a glove on a third-party site like eBay. But over the last year and a half, there has been a company in the United States that has really cornered the buzz surrounding Japanese gloves. That company is Jax, and we have their head of fielding gloves and pro player department with us today. That gentleman is Jaxon Jabara. Jaxon, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. Super excited.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. Jax has been a super fun brand for us to have on for the last year or so. So we'll dive in here. So when I'm thinking about Japanese gloves, oftentimes I think of like Wilson Staff Advisory Series, Mizuno Made in Haga, Rawlings Japan Series gloves, and they're all gloves that are at times available for U.S. customers to purchase, but their availability is not always guaranteed. So why is it that Japanese gloves have been so difficult to acquire for so many years?
I just think the barrier of entry, it's so expensive to get gloves made there, first of all, because the craftsmanship, the materials, kind of everything that Matt Walden talks about, what I talk about when it comes to just what makes Japanese gloves special. And on top of that, getting them from point A to point B over to America. So obviously logistics are very tough, but the cost of those gloves over there is just something that's very hard to corner. And that was something that when I started at Jax, hey, if we could get this going and we could get this right, we could corner this market and we could do something that's way different than anyone else is doing. So that was kind of my mentality going into it, but I'm very excited where we're at right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I think we should just say it. So right now, what Japanese glove brand is the easiest to buy in the United States?
It's us. It's got to be us.
Jax Gloves. All right. So I think we need to learn a little bit more about Jax. So initially, Jax, you guys it was a batting glove company. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they started in about 2018 with batting gloves. It's a family business out of Chicago, Illinois. I just started with the company about 2 years ago, strictly helping out with fielding gloves in the beginning. So this has been something that's been around the market for a while, been in Major League Baseball for a while. They've had some professionals using our batting gloves. So it was kind of a way for them to expand their business and kind of have a further reach in the baseball equipment world.
Nice. And so when they entered the fielding glove business, like, did they already know that they wanted to go after Japanese gloves, or did they scout you out to figure that out for them? How did all that go down?
It's a funny story. So Pat Murphy, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, is a mutual for myself and then the owner of Jax.
Okay. And old Arizona State coach, right?
Exactly. Okay. Arizona State, kind of been around minor league baseball for a while now, and now Major League Baseball with the Brewers. But yeah, great connection with him. I was introduced to the Jax team a few years back. They expressed that they were interested in moving into the fielding glove world, but didn't have a lot of knowledge when it came to that department of baseball gear. And I was happy to fly out, have an interview with them in Chicago, and it went fantastic. They're great people over there. I feel like we're on the same level when it comes to ethics and everything about business, and especially baseball gear. We believe in the same end goal in delivering the highest quality product to the market and not cutting any corners.
Nice. So that is pretty cool to hear. So I guess I just have to ask, since you brought up, how do you know Pat Murphy?
Long story when it comes to that as well. So my father knew him at Arizona State,
Okay.
and I grew up going to games. My father's an alumni of
Okay.
the university, and so he's known Murph since he was there at Arizona State. And I just grew up going to the games. Grew up with his son Kai Murphy, who's now in the Padres system using
Uh-huh.
Jax. So it's a fun full circle moment all around. But Murph's been a great person to myself and a great person to my family.
Tell us about you and the Jax team going out to Japan.
Oh, it was so special. The memories I made out there, it was awesome. But just going to these different factories and seeing the processes of
Mhm.
how much better those gloves are made over there, and just the true attention to detail that every single glove, in their opinion, is a living soul, and you have to treat it that way. And that's something that stuck out to me, and it ignited my passion. It's something I knew they already did well over there, but I feel like that reignited my passion to a new level hearing that.
That is cool. I always think of hearing you say that, how the glove has a soul. I've watched a few interviews and news pieces on Ichiro Suzuki and just how he talks about his glove. And for us in America, you hear that and think, what is he talking about? But over there, that's normal. I think everything they use, whether it's cookware
Everything.
or baseball equipment, it's a legacy piece. It seems like they want it to live on for forever. So just
Yes.
very different from us here in the United States. So when you guys do with your Jax gloves, so it seems like right now you guys stick a lot with those classic looks. I see a lot of blacks and tans from you guys right now with some reds and blues mixed in. Are you guys, when you go with that kind of classic look, are you guys borrowing? Is that the cosmetics that are preferred in Japan?
Well, the thing that I explain to people is the colors for me are obviously it's more limited with us, but there's a reason for that. And when you tan leather at tanneries, depending on the color you're trying to achieve, it will affect the leather's quality. It will affect the stiffness based on how long it needs to tan and how many colors it takes to get to that preferred color. And so our philosophy at Jax is let's use colors where the quality of the leather is the highest. That's not cut corners. That's not use a crazy color, but we're going to sacrifice the feel of our glove and the quality of our glove. So I've limited our colors to being only the highest quality colors and feel that are available on fielding gloves.
That's cool. I really like that take. I know the color game has exploded right now with
Yeah,
baseball gloves. You got everything under the sun. It seems like nothing's off limits. It seems like when it comes to color, but I feel like that has made it's kind of created a lot in the background for companies like yours to really specialize in. It's like, hey, this Japanese thing, like people are really into that now, because there's not as many people that can angle into that, but it seems like everybody can kind of join in the color game. So it's kind of allowed you guys to differentiate in some ways. So
exactly.
nice. So that's cool. So for the most part, for you guys, as far as innovation goes, it's going to be a lot of pattern work and things like that. Maybe not so much like colors and different materials of that sort.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We're going to be working on different patterns to hopefully blend more of an American style glove into a Japanese glove.
Hmm.
Obviously, we started very heavy on Japanese patterns because that's our identity right now.
Hmm.
But we want to be able to be accessible to everyone and make everyone feel that they can use a Jax glove, regardless of if they like a shallow glove, deep
Hmm.
glove, something in the middle. So you're right. I think we're really going to work on our patterns, and that's going to be the area of focus rather than colors.
Nice. I do always enjoy. I feel like the Japanese glove game, they do a great job with their webs too. I feel like there's always that's their shining star on, like, that's going to get the attention, is how they do the glove with the web, whether it's an X web. I feel like their closed webs always have really sweet designs on them and things like that.
For sure. Yeah, the webs over there. I mean, all the shops that I went to, that was probably my favorite part is the one
Uh-huh.
piece pitchers webs are just the best part because they have all those the two-sided leathers, the cut, the suede, everything. It's just something so different that you just don't see in like Dick's Sporting Goods out here. So
Yeah.
it's always an adventure for me out there and it's very exciting.
The closed web provides the best canvas
Oh,
for some creativity. So there was
exactly.
this is kind of just thinking like that as well. I feel like that's kind of catching on in the United States too. Some of the, maybe not like the full closed web, but I know this. I was watching the Kansas City Royals the other day. Michael Garcia, our third baseman, he uses the single piece not like fully closed, but single piece with the two X's at the bottom.
Yeah, the one piece web. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I thought that was a neat. It's cool to see that people are proving that works on the infield too now. So
Yeah, one that comes to mind for me is Freddie Galvis. I mean, he
mhm,
was a wizard at shortstop, but he used like an 11-inch glove with a one-piece web. And
mhm.
that in itself is a very Japanese thing to do, is use a very small glove, quick with the hands and a small web. But it's fun seeing Major League Baseball players, like you said, kind of take that flair from Japan and bring it over here.
Yeah, I feel it seems recently with especially infielders, a lot of they're trying to get away with the biggest glove they can possible for speaking like Rawlings, they have the KB 17, the 12 and a quarter inch pattern. Do you see, is there some pushback against that? Are there some guys going Joe Morgan style 10.5 inch gloves now to kind of increase that? It was always transfer. You got to have the fastest transfer type stuff.
It's funny, our 11 and a quarter inch glove, it's
Mhm.
very small in the hand. And that's something I just wanted to throw on our line just for someone who really wanted a small Japanese glove. And
Uh-huh.
I've been surprised how popular that glove is. It
Uh-huh.
is one of our hottest selling infield gloves because they just love the feel. The pocket's great. But you're right. I feel like there are people who are more interested in that now.
Mhm.
Even when I was in high school, I played shortstop and I used a DW5, which is crazy. I used
Uh-huh.
12 inches at shortstop,
Yeah.
but I was just comfortable with a really big glove and a nice backhand. I really enjoyed that.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. I think the market's kind of shifting now to a little smaller, a little more in control when it
Mhm.
comes to infield gloves, especially up the middle.
Nice. And kind of further in that chatter about design, I've noticed that the Japanese catcher's mitt is really catching on. Just that big,
Mm.
loose, kind of stringy web is how I would describe it. Is there is I don't know if you're able to share, but are you guys going to hop into that game sometime soon, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, I've been super vocal about that on my stories on my Instagram. But yeah, we've been working on a pattern. The first couple of patterns I received, I liked, but
Hmm.
it's got to be something that I love. And I want to blend, like I said, a Japanese pattern and American pattern very close to each other when it comes to the catcher's mitt.
Hmm.
Because right now, the Japanese catcher's mitt, like you said, is so different from American catcher's mitts. And we got to
Hmm.
be able to please as many people as we can in the beginning. So, down the road, I'd love to have a super Japanese catcher's mitt and then
Yeah.
a traditional American catcher's mitt to give the player a choice.
Mhm.
But as for now, I'm just going to try and blend one pattern and hopefully get that out this year and get that rolling.
Nice. What is I've always I don't know that I've ever gotten the answer. You might know. Why do Japanese catchers, why do they like that real I wouldn't want that. I always kind of want things as a catcher. I always want it tight and small, but that doesn't seem to be how they think. What is the thought behind that really big loose kind of pattern?
I think it's kind of what they're used to now,
Okay.
but from what I've kind of got from our factory and players in Japan that I speak to,
Mhm.
it's a lot about that backhand pick and then stealing low strikes.
Okay,
And
yeah.
you've probably seen the videos online of those Japanese catchers that can steal a million strikes a game on
Uh-huh.
the bottom of the zone. And a lot of that is just letting the web kind of take the impact of the ball and letting that momentum pull your glove up. Because you'll
Okay.
see a lot of catchers twist their gloves like that in Japan,
Yeah. Okay.
steal strikes. So it's really interesting and it's really cool how different the same game can be in different regions.
I know. Yeah, I feel in the last 2 years I'm sure I think we're relatively similar age. I think catchers, all they were when I was in high school was like, well, how hard can you throw the ball to set, or how quick is your pop time was the only
Yeah,
thing anyone thought about. It's wild how much different and how well you block. That was the only things that people thought about. Now it's completely different. It's like that's good to have, but it's all about being able to frame and
yeah,
all that now. So
yeah.
and so with your position at Jax, so I mentioned it earlier, you are also you help head up the pro player department of Jax, and do you feel like the professional players they're taking notice of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. With that position, I kind of work mostly on the fielding glove side, but I kind
Hmm.
of see Jax as, we're all in it for the same purpose. So I try and help out in as many places as I can around the business, whether that be batting glove sales,
Hmm.
uh, new technologies that we're working on right now. Like I'm heading a project with our group of something that's really exciting. I can't talk about, but it's just stuff like that where it's, hey, like, let's all do this together. We can have our own sides, but let's do it together. Yeah, so on the pro side, we had a really exciting spring training. This was our first year kind of tabling at spring training, and I
Nice.
went out to Arizona. Just got raw feedback, you know. I mean, selling gloves is great, but when
Yeah.
you can get feedback from the best players on the planet about your product, there's nothing more valuable, you know.
Uh-huh.
So just being out there every morning at different teams, showing the gloves off, that was really exciting. And we sold a lot more than I thought. Happy to get a few of them under contract, which was really exciting for us. But the feedback was great. I mean, they're kind of in the same market as most players in America right now. They want
Hmm.
something higher quality. Yes, the customization is great, but they want something on their hand where they feel like it's been crafted. They feel like someone who cares made it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our angle right now.
Is I'm interested to know. So I feel like most people, as far as getting gloves at spring training, all we really know is Wilson Glove Day is most of
Yeah.
what's out there. What is it like? What is it like for you coming in there as a little bit of a smaller brand at like a trying to run the clubhouse or the fields and all that at spring training?
Oh, I mean, it was a dream. It's something
Really?
that you think about as a kid. It's you're at a table and you have your heroes walking up to you asking questions about fielding gloves. And obviously you got to keep your cool. You can't act too crazy there, but I
Yeah.
there were a few times where I was very starstruck by who I was talking to about fielding gloves. But like you said, just kind of explaining that's kind of the big part about our brand because we're not a super big company as of right now. And
Yeah.
it was fun kind of explaining to these guys, hey, this is what we do, this is our mission, and this is
Yeah.
where we want to be in 10 years. So that was really exciting for me.
Do you just kind of are you like do you flip them a glove and you're like go use it and like come back and chat with us after you use it for a little bit? Is that a lot of your strategy when you're down there?
A lot of it was funny. Most guys just wanted to buy it off the
Oh,
table.
really?
So yeah,
Okay.
we had a bunch that we just sold. I had two shipments we had to ship out from Chicago for reinforcements of
Okay.
gloves. But yeah, we actually did have one major league first baseman feel our glove and just say, "Hey, can I use this?" And I was like, "Sure." And we have an experimental first baseman at the time, which we're about to release to the market, which I love the pattern. But
Nice.
this guy came back and said, I need this right now. And he bought it from us and he loved the
Nice.
pattern. And it was just fun picking his brain, you know, like asking a Major League Baseball player, hey, what did you think about this on the backhand? What about this on the forehand? How about the
Mhm.
second fold over on the hinge? Like stuff like that. It's really exciting for me to talk about with guys who really play the game at a high level.
Are they pretty receptive to that? Can you have that kind of conversation, or do most of them or any of them like, "This is my glove, this is what I use, I don't know much else about it," or are more of them, like, willing to talk shop?
It's funny. It's split pretty evenly. It's a
Really?
lot of guys who are very like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to try it out. Let's see what we got." But then some guys, I feel like they just don't care what they use.
Uh-huh.
They just play baseball and they don't see it as how you and I see it when it comes to fielding gloves, the intricacies, how it's built, where it's built. It's more of, hey, does it catch the baseball? If it does, that's a roll. That's a roll.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, it was fun, you know, especially the guys that care about fielding gloves. It was really cool having those conversations.
Yeah. No, that's neat. Um, Kinda going broader picture here.
Mhm.
So, as far as with Jax, as we discussed earlier, you guys are a glove company. You guys specialize in selling a Japanese glove. So, most obviously, a Japanese glove is one that is geographically made in the country of Japan. As like a relatively ignorant consumer of myself, I for a long time I didn't quite understand the difference between, I would hear Chinese made, Japanese made, and I didn't understand that there is literally a higher standard that Japanese artisans they hold themselves to when they're creating a glove. So there is a difference between what is being made in Japan and typically what people would get from other countries outside of the United States. As I'd mentioned earlier, we had Matt Walden on last summer, and I thought he had a pretty good list of three or four the other three qualifiers for a Japanese glove. The other three, the first one was that they're custom ordered or made within a small batch. The parts are assembled by one individual at the Japanese factory. That's the person who selects the leather, cuts it, and then watches over the rest of the process. And then also that the externals and internals of the glove they're both made from American steer hide or European kip that's tanned in Japan. So those were kind of his list, which I thought
Yeah.
was really solid. Is there anything you'd add to his list?
I mean, he's a master when it comes to understanding
Yeah.
Japanese leather, and his list is actually something that I went down when I was going to Japan initially, because
Okay.
I take
Nice.
a lot of inspiration from him when it comes to understanding the craftsmanship. But I mean, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's guys who in these factories, they know exactly what they want out of the glove. It's not
Hmm.
just a project that's get from A to Z. Like, it's every detail has to be correct about the fielding glove. And a lot of it too is the small batches. That's the one that I hit on the most. Is just
Hmm.
these are not mass produced. These are not made in these large factories. Like, it's very small quarters, and there's only a certain amount of gloves we can make per day. And
Hmm.
that's a reality we have to live with, and that's a bridge we'll have to cross eventually. But that's what makes our gloves so special, because you could put on one that we made 6 months ago, and you can put on one we made yesterday, and there's no difference. And that's, in my opinion, the best part. And especially one other point I wanted to touch on is that nothing inside the glove is recycled when it comes to like the liner, the padding, all that stuff is new. It's fresh. It's the highest quality material, even down
Hmm.
to the wrist fur. We use real fur. A lot of other companies use artificial fur. We
Okay.
use real fur on our gloves, so it's something fun that we always like to tell
Yeah.
people.
Is
But
that like sheep? Like
yeah,
sheep's
sheep fur.
Nice.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
super
So
cool.
yeah, it's really exciting when you can, be extremely proud about a product that isn't we aren't hiding anything inside.
Yeah. And then so actually one thing I was going to add, for if anyone's listening and they're kind of wondering about the crafts, like how these craftsmen are, is like, look, most people probably have if they've listened this far, but there's Shigeaki Aso or Aso Shigeaki. I can't remember which one goes first. Sorry. But from Wilson also, watch him and just see how he talks about gloves. It's super cool. And then also, I believe from Mizuno, Ko Kishimoto is another. They're great, like just to see the amount of level of respect that they have for just the craft of building. It's pretty cool to see, and people will be able to understand that Japanese commitment. For you though, I've had this experience with the Jax glove, but for a regular player, they slip on a Jax glove. What are they going to notice that's different right away?
The first thing I notice when I put them on and when I
Hmm.
start to feel them is I like to explain to people that we're not going to throw in a bunch of padding. You're really going to feel the glove for what it is. You're going to know exactly where the baseball is. But even the leather, it doesn't feel dry. It's a very rich leather that we feel is a lot softer to the touch. And the thing about our gloves that I think we do better than a lot of others is just the patterns. The
Hmm.
patterns aren't cookie cutter, and the first thing you're going to notice is I haven't really felt a glove like this. This is
Hmm.
something that doesn't feel like anything else I can find at Dick's Sporting Goods or any other stores. It's something very unique to us, and we're very proud about our patterns.
That's it's dude, it's wild putting on when I put on the Jax glove. It's hard to even say. You're just, this is different than
It's yeah,
what I'm used to. And all those other gloves feel great too.
for sure.
All that are out there. But yeah, when you put your hand in that glove, it's a wow feeling for sure when it goes on, which is really cool. I think that's really neat that you can't quite put words into how the glove's going to feel a little different. I've noticed as well. It seems typically Japan, do they usually have a little wider heel? Is that a lot of their designs?
Correct. And a lot of that just derives from the fact they catch the ball differently than American players do. They
Hmm.
kind of catch the baseball more in the palm area, as of
Okay.
American players kind of catch it more in the web.
Uh-huh.
But especially in the infield too, you'll notice when you take ground balls, it does feel a little wider, which
Okay.
I like because it feels like you have a little more surface area to play with. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it's pretty unique, the differences.
Yeah. It seems I have heard people talk about with the Japanese culture. I can't remember exactly where I heard this from, but that we are borrowing from them and they're also borrowing from us at the same time, where we kind of have a fascination with Japanese gloves. They kind of also have a fascination with American gloves and how we play, which I think is kind of cool because
It's
I
awesome.
yeah, it is. I always feel like, oh, they do it right over there because they're maybe more two hand and stuff like that. But then they think how we do it is really cool. So it's nice to have that sharing of information too. So
Definitely.
I did want to ask you, this is since you have experience with Japan, uh, I have some personal interest here. So
Yeah.
hardball versus rubber ball gloves. So rubber ball, we've talked about it before on here. So it's also, believe they call it nanshiki is
Mhm.
what they call it. So it's played in Japan, and the rules, they're the exact same as baseball, but they use a rubber baseball. So it's literally a rubber baseball, and that can alter the manner in which players attack the game. And I guess it also changes the equipment a little bit. And a shout out to Chris Banger, the Ball Glove King. He put together a great video a few months back that kind of highlighted a rubber ball glove versus a hard ball glove. But in your experience, when they create these rubber ball gloves, it appears that they intentionally make them softer, almost as though they could break down a little bit quicker than what we
Correct.
would call a hard ball glove. Why is that? Go ahead if you can explain. Why do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much experience in the rubber ball world. I was lucky enough to hit some when I was in Japan and play catch.
Okay.
And it's very different from even throwing a normal baseball. It does feel different. The first few I kind of shanked a bit. But
Okay.
yeah, no, it's a lot thinner. It's a lot softer, like you said.
Uh
And
huh.
a lot of people, a big question I get asked personally is, hey, can I use this rubber ball glove in baseball? And
Hmm.
you can, but like you said, it'll just break down a little quicker
Hmm.
and it might be a little thinner on the palm, which does sting obviously a lot more. But yeah, no, they're definitely great gloves, and it's obviously made for something a lot different than baseball. But
Hmm.
that sport is very big over there, and it's a lot of fun. I can see why there's a lot of hype around it. I really enjoyed it when I was over there.
Is it? It's kind of. It would be. We have slow pitch. We have slow pitch softball. They have rubber ball. It seemed like is kind of
Exactly.
the relationship. So,
Yeah,
um,
it makes you feel pretty good because I feel like the rubber ball jumps off the bat a little hotter than a
oh,
baseball.
really? Nice.
Yeah, I felt pretty dang good hitting those.
And does in high school, do the high school kids also do they play, or like when they're younger, do they mostly play with the rubber baseball as well? I think, or I
I'm
might
not
be
sure
off.
at the younger age, but I do
Okay.
know like how serious high school baseball is taken over there on the
Hmm.
baseball side. And I'm sure you've seen, but I mean, there's just 50,000, 40,000 stadium or people stadiums of just being filled to watch
Yeah.
two high schools play in the championship. And that's a culture I wish kind of translated more over here, but it's really special.
Yeah, I was gonna mention this towards the end, but you went on a trip as well. It seemed like maybe for more of like a more personal trip. You went over there and went to some of those awesome like Baseball
Yeah.
Mario and Kubota Slugger, and you went to a World Baseball Classic game while you were in Japan, right?
Yeah, I did. It
And it
was
was like, go ahead, yeah, yeah,
no, yeah, it was just I went to a few, so it was more of like a
okay,
day pass thing, but
uh-huh.
it was amazing.
I'm so interested because here in America we go to a baseball game and it's kind of a way of relaxing. And there, it's more they treat it more like football, like we do here, where you're kinda standing for some of the game, and they have organized cheers and things of that sort.
Correct. Yeah. No. So at the Japan game, it was Japan versus the Czech Republic, and
Okay.
it was unbelievable. I've never felt culture like that when it comes to baseball. I mean, I've
Mhm.
heard there's great crowds in Mexico. I've heard there's great crowds in the Dominican, but you stand for offense when your team's
Really?
hitting. You stand, and it's organized chants like you spoke about. And I wish I knew them at the time, but it was just great to be present and support. But we would stand when Japan was hitting, and then when the Czech Republic was hitting, we'd sit. But it was really cool to see, though, the amount of respect the Japanese people have for not even the sport of baseball, but for everyone.
Uh-huh.
When the Czech Republic team, the heavy underdog, when they would make a great play or if they would strike out a certain player on Japan, they would clap. And I took that back and took that in my mental notes and just said, wow, this is something I wish was over here a little more because they respect the game and
Mhm.
I feel like they recognize good baseball when it's happening. And when
Mhm.
they saw good baseball, they appreciated it. And that was really fun to watch.
That's cool. I was really hoping that you were gonna say you stood up. You were like the one person that stood up when the Czech Republic was hitting. You're like the one guy. They're like, "What are you doing here, man?"
I love Eric Sogard over there, but
Yeah.
no, yeah, we are I was a team Japan for that day.
I did see as well when you had your video in that like I yeah, Lars Nootbaar, he was playing for Team Japan, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
That was I thought that was kind of cool. From what you say, I'm sure they just he's part of the squad. I'm sure
Oh
they
yeah,
accept him as one of their own. So
definitely.
well, nice. So we got a little bit ahead of ourselves, or I got ahead of myself. I do want to give listeners a snapshot into your career before your arrival at Jax. So there's a reason that Jax reached out to Jaxon, aside from his name, being very similar to the name of their company. At your heart, where it all started for you, it was starting with glove collecting. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and how old were you when you started collecting gloves?
Man, I was 15, and
Okay.
My buddy Colby Fromong, who was a travel ball player at the time, who I was playing with, him and his dad did the whole glove trading thing, and they had an Instagram, and I was so interested by it because he would come to practice with a new glove every day, and in my head I'm like, how many gloves does this guy have? Like this is
Hmm.
nuts. And they kind of introduced me to that world, and yeah, since then I it's just kind of blown up, and it's been exciting.
Yeah. So help me understand how you start. So you're 15 years old. You probably don't have a ton of cash, but you want gloves. So do you just find your way to get your hands on one in-demand glove? Then you try and flip that for four gloves and then hope to find someone else who really likes one of those four you got. And then it just blossoms from there. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it really accurately. I just loved it. I was addicted to it,
Hmm.
and the thing was, yeah, you're strapped for cash at that age, and you have to teach yourself to be a good business person
Hmm.
and to be an entrepreneur in that line of work. Start to understand the different patterns, the different companies, the value gloves have, and like you said, if you were lucky enough to get one good glove, the thing is, you could flip that for three gloves if you wanted to, and
Hmm.
I had a few great deals go my way back in the day when it comes to getting like a nice Nike glove,
Uh-huh.
which are made in Japan.
Nice.
But yeah, I was addicted to it. It was something that I kind of used on my off time as like my hobby, and
Hmm.
now I'm doing it for a living, and I feel really blessed to be in this position.
And with you being in, so Jackson's in San Diego is where you're at, correct?
Yeah,
And you guys
instantly.
have, so you kind of have the mecca of glove, the headquarters for glove collecting. I feel like is there at the Charlie Rose store. Is that right?
Oh yeah, Brandon's a great person. If anyone's ever in, I would even just say the West Coast, it's
Uh huh.
worth the trip to come down to San Diego to check out Charlie Rose because it's not even just the quantity of gloves they have; it's how rare the gloves are. They have pro issues up on the wall, college issues. I know someone that found a pro issue glove hanging on a rack, and they bought it for $300, but it was a pro issue Wilson, and
Oh
that
man,
doesn't happen anywhere else, and that's really exciting.
it's cool. Yeah, there's stuff to the rafters there too. You kind of
Yeah.
walk in, and it's kind of a old, like older style looking store when you think of a classic sporting goods, but it's just stuff with gloves. It seems like on both walls.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a hole in the wall. That's might be an understatement, but that's again, that's what makes it special.
Uh-huh.
It's home. I've been going there since high school, and Brandon Takahashi, the owner, is just a great guy. They run a great shop, and everyone is so personable there, and the knowledge that all the employees have on not even fielding gloves but bats and the game itself. It's a lot of fun just to hang out there.
It seems cool. There's a few guys who work here at Just Gloves. We're run by the company's called Pro Athlete that were skate. They did a lot of skating back in the day, and they'd talk about how skate shop. That was the thing you'd do after school. You just go and hang out at the skate shop. It sounds
Yeah,
like that's kind of a little thing that you guys have going there in San Diego as
it's
well. So
exactly that's a great way to put it. It's a
yeah,
great way to put it.
that's cool. So I have to ask you, how many gloves are in the collection right now?
Gosh, now, I mean, geez, I haven't counted recently, but if I had to guess, it'd be probably about 50 in my
Okay, nice.
personal.
That's yeah.
So,
Did you trim down a little bit?
yeah, did trim down a bit, moved into my own place up here in
Okay,
Encinitas, and yeah, just needed to trim that number down. But
nice.
I try and just keep the ones that mean a lot to me.
That's cool. And so so after 15, your collection grows quite a bit and you start to get a following. You have Coachella Gloves on Instagram and TikTok, and then you have your YouTube account, which is Jackson Gloves. And when things really started taking off for you, how old were you at that time?
It was college. It was
Okay.
definitely college. I kind of the thing that separated me was I was working for Arizona State baseball at the time when I was attending Arizona State,
Okay.
and I was lucky enough to be put in the position to get a custom glove for the 2 years I worked for the team. So to be able to design my own custom issue glove
Uh-huh.
for college issue, I mean it's something that a lot of people can't really say if they
Uh-huh.
didn't play. So
Yeah.
I feel like a big thing for me was having those Arizona State gloves, those college issue gloves that helped my following kind of bump up. And
Mhm.
that's definitely where I saw the biggest jump was in college.
Nice. That's pretty cool. And you were getting pretty good press at that point. social media and even your hometown San Diego news. I thought that was cool because I saw an interview where the local San Diego news, they highlighted your collection and showed your home at the time, which was a high-rise apartment above Petco Park in San Diego, right?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up there in high school, so it's definitely not the typical high school childhood. But yeah, learning how to drive downtown and all that stuff, it was definitely it was chaotic, but it was fun being so close to the ballpark.
And you could literally see from your guy, this was your family's apartment, is that
Yeah, my
right?
parents' home. Yeah,
You could look right into Petco, like you could literally see the action going on the field.
yeah. Had to shut the blinds for homework. I'll be honest, but yeah. Once homework was done, though, the blinds went straight up, and we were watching baseball games at dinner. So that
That
was
seems really cool. I like to have the radio, like to
yeah.
have the radio going and like be able to kind of see it playing out on the field. That has to be a pretty neat little experience. So
It's funny. It would always be like a 3 second delay. So you'd hear the crowd and then you turn up the radio, say, "Oh, something happened. Something happened."
nice.
So yeah,
That's awesome. That is a really really neat just I don't know, that's a cool experience that probably not many people have. So
definitely. Thank you. Yeah.
um
Great experience.
yeah, no, it's awesome. We really appreciate you hopping on the show with us today. This has been a fun episode. Glad to have you on. I know that a lot of people look to you as a kind of a leader in the industry, so it's cool to
Appreciate
have
that.
you on and help you improve our podcast here.
Thanks for
The
having me.
Yeah, before we leave, we always do three strikes. So it's you get three questions. They're more personal, and so try to have a little fun, let people get to
Yeah.
know you a little bit.
Let's do it.
Yep, question. So strike one. So on your YouTube account, Jackson Gloves, you documented the trip we talked about where you were at the World Baseball Classic in 2023. So you saw all the cool baseball stores and then also the baseball games. But my question for you is, did you try anything scary in regard to food while you were out there in Japan?
Oh man. Yeah. So I'm a big foodie, big
Okay.
fan of Anthony Bourdain. So
Okay.
anytime I can put myself in an uncomfortable position when it comes to food, I will
Uh-huh.
do it. So I think it's called takoyaki.
Okay.
And in Osaka, they're known for it. It's like these balls of dough, fish, I think lobster and crab. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But on top is this fish, and it's still moving. And
Oh.
this fish is like it's like crunching. It's a really interesting looking dish, but it happened to be one of the best things I had on my trip. It was delicious, and I was very happy I put myself in an uncomfortable position, and it paid
Ooh.
off. I'm very happy I had it, and I will definitely have it again when I go again.
That's ooh, that definitely goes up there for a little scary. What was that the best thing you had too?
Oh man, no, I had sushi at this place in the neighborhood of Roppongi in
Okay.
Tokyo. It's called Roku Roku, and
Okay.
it is in the Grand Hyatt Hotel. It is without a doubt the best sushi I've had in my life. If anyone knows me personally, I'm a very big sushi lover. I try and have sushi multiple times a week. I love raw fish, but this just it was the best sushi I've had in my life. It was unbelievable. The toro was amazing. The salmon was amazing. It was unbelievable. I dream about it often.
You're way better. So I'm from Kansas, and so I have any type of sushi. I'm like, oh man, that's good. But
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
that if we were to eat sushi together, we'd probably have very different experiences. So that's fun. So if I am question number two, strike two here. If I'm
Mhm.
visiting San Diego, what is the coolest non-touristy thing a visitor in the city can do?
That is a good question. San Diego is obviously a big tourist spot, but where I live in North County, it's a lot more quiet. And if
Mhm.
I'm bringing someone from out of town that I want to show them something special, I'll take them to in Del Mar. It's a small little beach town. It's where I went to high school. There's a
Mhm.
street called 7th Street, and that's on top of a really big bluff, which is like a cliff almost. And
Mhm.
there's a walking path that goes for about 2 miles. And that walk is just the most scenic walk of all time. You're looking off into the ocean. You can see La Jolla. You can see all the way up to Orange County on
Oh
clear
wow.
days. It's beautiful and it's so quiet. And then one other thing I'd take someone to is the glider port in Torrey Pines. It's a big grass field where people run and jump off the cliff with their gliders and
Okay.
these hang glider things.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I know
it's
exactly what.
just It's so scenic. There's a great little coffee shop up there. It's a great spot to hang out. I do a lot of my designing of the gloves up there. It kind of helps clear my mind.
Nice. That's cool. Those are two good ones. Appreciate that. And then the last one, my third strike for you, and I think your background here is answering this question for you. I associate San Diego with surfing, and I don't know if that's correct or incorrect, but my question is for you, can you surf?
I enjoy surfing. I live a walk away from the beach, and this is my old faithful Walden Mini Magic.
Okay,
But
nice.
yeah, I no professional, but it's fun just being out there, and it's a great way to clear the mind.
Nice. That's awesome. I've it seems I've heard, you see like as I was watching surfing was in the Olympics last year
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you watch them do it and you're like, man, they kind of make that look pretty easily. But I guess someone was telling me where they were surfing in Tahiti was someone's like, no, you have to be the best in the world to be able to
Yeah.
surf there. It's crazy. So
Tahiti's a crazy place. It's the waves out there super strong, and the way to describe, I mean, here's the thing, those waves are a lot bigger than we have here in San Diego, but
uh-huh.
even the 5 foot waves on a great day out here, the way I describe it is like someone dropping like a bag of like heavy flour or like bricks on your back. Like that's how strong like a 5 foot wave feels on your back. So
Uh-huh.
imagine that at like a 10 and 15 foot wave. It's
Oh,
I wouldn't
dude.
even go out. I would die if I went out in Tahiti.
Ouch. Dang. Have you have
Yeah.
you have you been to Tahiti?
No, no,
Oh, okay,
never.
I didn't know you the way you I was like, "Oh, man, he's been"
No, it's
but
just it's big in the surf world. Tahiti's
yeah,
a destination to go surfing. So you have, like you said, you have to be really good to go out there and paddle out.
it's funny, I remember for the Olympics, they got, like, 30-minute sessions to do
Mhm.
it, and I was like, "I'll watch a couple minutes." Watched the whole thing. I was locked in on the
Yeah,
surfing when it was showing, so,
it's addicting,
um,
man.
it is fun. Well, thank you very much, Jackson, for joining. This is great. I'm glad that our listeners are gonna be able to have this to listen to, learn a bit about Jax Gloves, and then also yourself, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. This was so much fun, and I love the website, love everything you guys do. It's been an honor to be on here with you guys.
Thank you very much. Well, yeah, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, definitely go ahead. If you're watching on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, give us a 5-star review. We'd greatly appreciate it. And until next time, have a great day.